You wrote an amazing book, something that the world absolutely needs, something that you're absolutely, totally 100% passionate about. It's a book that encompasses the heart, soul, and core of your very being. But after it launched, made the bestseller list, whatever it did, it really hasn't gone anywhere since then. Today is the day that we talk about how you get legit reviews from real people, how to do that without it becoming your new full time job. Let's talk more about that. Hi, my name is Steve Kidd. I'm a third generation minister, international best-selling author of 40 books and counting. Over the course of the last 40 plus years, it's actually 41 books now, isn't it? Um, After having worked for 40 years in marketing, 20 of which I've worked almost exclusively with authors, I can tell you that there is nothing more powerful than a review for the legitimacy of your book. When it is a verified purchaser review, you get basically a double payoff. So you get the payoff when the person buys the book, and that shows up in your ranking. And then you get the payoff when the person reads your book because you really connect to them. So it's actually a triple payoff, isn't it? And then you get the payout of them coming in and them writing on the review and giving the signal to the world about how amazing the book is. There is nothing better than when somebody reads your book and goes back and tells the world just how cool, how incredible, how amazing what you wrote is. It makes you feel good. But it also is a great signal to the people in the world exactly what your book is, what it's about, what it's for, and why they need to have that book as well. That is where that thing we're always talking about in sales, that we buy from people that we know, like, and trust. That's where it comes from. It comes from you creating that really cool, very legitimate signal to your people that says, hey, this book is the it. This book is for real. This book is something you absolutely want, need, and are going to get. That's what a review does for you. The review is what immediately skips over that threshold, if you will, and moves you into that known, that liked, and that trusted place. Because when others, whether they're people we know, and this is the cool part about reviews, because when we go online and we look up, say for example a hotel, we're trying to decide, should I stay at this hotel or that hotel? What basically say the price and discount prices and find the different ways to save the money. First, I really need to decide which hotel should I stay at. Should I stay where the rent is, or should I rent it with me? What should I do? And that's a legitimate thought process that we have when we're looking at a hotel. And yet, when we look at the reviews, we don't look at the reviews and see, hey, did my 5 best friends write a review on this? And does that then give a legitimacy that we need? No. Total random strangers, people that we've never met and never will meet, have stable lives. They, they, they have incredibly great things to say. And we immediately accept, so probably sometimes I think about it, sign up what I'm serious about, really wanting to know, and it's not just, hey, I've eaten at this XYZ chain restaurant before, and so as long as there's no real big red flags, I'm just going to order from there because I know what I'm going to get. Pretty typical with most chains, most chain restaurants, most franchises in general. But, sometimes I also look at what are people saying about this. Sometimes, a new manager comes in, the manager's a real jerk. Sometimes a new manager comes in and they totally change the overall, you know, culture of your place. And what used to be a real dive now is someplace it's really kind of cool and someplace that you really do want to go to. And those are important. Those are really good signals for whether you should or shouldn't. You know, but the we get you we can get you however, the number one thing that's going to move the needle more than anything else is when a person goes, they buy your product. In this case, we're going to talk about books. They buy your book, they read it, and then they come back to their account and they write a review on it. Now, Amazon has in place some systems, write a review on what you thought about this product you just bought. And I don't know about you, but a lot of times I will be like, I want to do that, but I don't have time. We either, number one, save the email for later, or number two, we're just overwhelmed. And so we don't do it at all, and that is more true than not. In fact, those of you that are authors that are listening right now, you absolutely know what it's like to have, even say, for example, your very best friend say, oh, yeah, I'm going to write a review on this book. It's totally worth it. I really want to do that for you. And then next time you see them, tomorrow, next week, next month, whatever, you're like, hey, I haven't seen your review. Did you submit it? And they're like, oh, man, no, I forgot. I too totally run to do that. I even have one of my authors that she went, she was so frustrated with that whole process with some of her very, very close friends that she literally, logged in, had them open it up on their phone right there, go to the page and write the review right there from their phone, or use her computer and from right there, write the review. It's that kind of a situation that sometimes is what it takes. The follow up can be a full time job, just getting people who loved your book, who bought it, who totally say great things about it. I've got one system that I'm working with right now where the promotion has a built in review system, if you will. Hey, ASIF, I'm glad to have you here with us. And I see, and they get a lot of people. Bun, glad to have you here with us. They get a lot of people that do a real quick, like rating. Some of them even write a few words about what they think about it, or they have 5 points that they actually technically are asking people for, and they almost never get all 5 of them. But what I can tell you is that when it comes to actually logging back into Amazon, going in there, writing a review, even though you can, use AI these days to write the review for you, even in those cases, it really doesn't happen very often. So what's the plan? Option A, you could, hire a full-time employee that's all they do is follow up with people and get, folks to absolutely, write the reviews and enough follow up, they can totally do that. There's a little bit of a downside to that because if it's a AI agent or if it's a VA from another country, in both of those cases, you're going to have less success than you would if it was you. If you haven't developed or if you are the one, in other words, that have developed the relationship and some other third party, whatever, program or person comes in, it makes it that much more difficult. there's an option that we put together. We did this for you because we understand, and we've been doing this for years and years and decades, really, last 20 years. And we put together a program where, no, we do not sell reviews because honestly, you're not supposed to sell reviews, and we don't. What we do is we do charge for our time. It takes a lot of time to both find people who will buy your book, okay? Because we want to get the right people buying your book and not just any old person who will go in and spend the 99 cents for your ebook or the $9.99 for your print book or whatever. We want real people, okay? And so we have systems. We have a couple of different ones that we can do to get you those purchases. Then in addition to that, we have follow-up in place. Did you read the book? Did you like the book? What did you think about it? What kind of comments? We want to collect those comments. Here's the thing. Sometimes people don't like what we do. That's okay. We're not a cup of tea for everybody, and that's okay. In that particular case, the best thing to do is go, hey, I really appreciate your feedback. And then we want to give that to you directly. Okay. Now, a lot of times people are, a little bit shy of being able to do that, unless they totally hate the thing. Now, haters are always going to hate. Okay, I've done enough lives that you can go back and watch across the lives, and you can see some of the silly comments people have made. Some of them have been downright rude. We don't have any of those people here today. But, one of those kind of situations, right? And I'm not talking about those. I'm talking about the people who are legitimately giving you constructive feedback. I'm also not talking about the person who is like, oh, there is a misspelled word on page 25. Okay, obviously you weren't caught up in the book. You weren't engaged with the material, because when we skim through and we see the errors, we're not really catching the content. That's okay too. We need those kind of readers as well. But what we want is to follow up with the people who really read the book and really got something out of it, and then see if they're willing, if they would write a review for it. Now, we can't force them, but we can do enough of that, and we can have and do have a system in place so that with enough follow-up, we can tell you, how many reviews we can get for you. That's not because we're charging you for reviews. It's because the system is developed well enough that we now charge based on our result. We put the onus of that on ourselves. We're like, okay, we're going to commit ourselves to this, and we're going to continue doing it until you get specifically those real legitimate purchasers who really truly read your book and who then go into their account and they write a review. It's a whole process for it. Now, yeah, you could hire and train somebody to do that. You could hijack your whole company and spend your time doing that yourself. That's why when you have high-end authors, like, say, for example, a Terry Brooks or Stephen King or somebody like that, it's one of the reasons why they only bring out a book every year or every couple of years, is because the time promoting and marketing their book to keep those books really, truly selling so that they keep making the money that they need to make. That's a full-time job. That's what they do all day long, every day. And there really isn't any author that I can tell you that has such an incredibly great of a following that they just write books and they sit up in their lofty tower writing the books and popping them out. There was a time when that was true, but just isn't anymore. They are in media in one way or another, talking about their stuff, being interviewed, those kind of things. All of those things come in together. And when it comes specifically to the reviews, we've got your back. We want to help you out. So what does that mean? It means your book deserves reviews, and we want to help. Just comment the word review in the comments, or wherever the comments are from how you're reading it. Comment the word reviews. Let's get you some reviews. Let's get your book seen, heard, and let's get you paid. All right? I'm so grateful for you. I hope that you, even though it's been cold the last couple of days and we've got bipolar weather going on right now, I hope that you're happy, safe, warm, and loved. And then until we are together again next time, which will be tomorrow, I hope you have a great week.